I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We're running just a little bit behind, so I want to make sure I can stay on track as much as possible today. So this session is on long-term storage. I'm going to talk as much as I can about long-term storage. Some of this might have to carry over into maybe a Friday webinar or something like that because there's a lot of information to get to, and I don't think I'll have enough time to do it. So what it is when you send things into Amazon, you are charged a monthly storage fee. And in the past, it was that you got charged long-term storage for items that had been at Amazon fulfillment centers for 6 months or longer, and you were charged twice a year. You were charged August 15th and February 15th. This is changing now at Amazon. They're still going to have the August 15th long-term storage payout, but starting September 15th, everything that you have at the fulfillment center that is classified as long-term storage will be charged monthly. There is a document about it on Amazon called long-term storage fees, and it kind of talks about the change. So it's prior to September 15th and then after September 15th. So your inventory will be assessed for long-term storage the 15th of every month. If it has been in there for 6 months to a year, it will be charged $3.45 per cubic feet. If it's been in there for more than a year, it will be charged $6.90 per cubic feet. And this is on top of your regular fees. So it can really start to add up. So I am going to talk about just the long-term storage that's happening August 15th. I'm going to try to think of a way to easily keep track of the monthly storage, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next month after I've had a chance to kind of get my brain together to get around that. So a couple of things. If you're in office, there's a document called long-term storage assessment. If you are watching a stream, I posted it in the Facebook group. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to show a couple of things, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because there is a video series that Ike did on long-term storage. I tried to make it just a little bit easier for you guys by taking the video that Ike did and then writing out the information so that you guys could figure out how to do it a little bit better. Especially those of you who are not fans of VLOOKUPs or know how to do VLOOKUPs. I tried to break it down to make it easy for you to figure out how to do a VLOOKUP. So the first thing that you want to do is go to Amazon, go to the inventory tab, and then go to inventory planning. There are a couple of different ways to look at items that are going to hit long-term storage. One of them is going here and then looking at the inventory age. And it will tell you everything that is going to hit long-term storage. There's this column right here. And if you hover over the number, it'll actually tell you how many units are going to hit 6 months long-term storage, and then how many items are going to hit 12-month long-term storage. So it's a very helpful tool to have to be able to see, because if you just download this report here, it has such huge gaps. You can't tell if this product is hitting 6 months or if it's below 6 months. So being able to see it broken down here can be very helpful. It also gives you the recommendations over here. You don't necessarily have to follow those recommendations, but it gives you a little bit of a place to start. Another thing that you can do is use 3 different reports from Seller Central. I'll show you how to get to those. So if you go to reports and then fulfillment, you can download the inventory age, the inventory health report, and the fee preview report. And what you're going to do with these 3 documents is kind of make one master crazy document to assess your products on a deeper level. So what I'm going to do is the inventory health report is right here. You can just generate a report. The inventory age is right here underneath of the inventory health. And then if you go to payments and download the fee preview report, you can look at that as well. So once I have these three reports downloaded, and I've already pre-downloaded them to save some time, you want to make sure that when you download them, it might save as a text file. So let me show you that real quick. If there's one for me to download. So if you download the report, it's going to show up in a notepad, in a text file like this. So to put it into Excel, what you can do is open up an Excel document. I just have to wait for Excel to open up. Or go here. Go to Open. Go to Browse. Go to All Files. You might need to go to Downloads. I just have to find it in here. What's today, the 19th? This is it, okay. And then what it will ask you is, how do you want this open up? You want to open up delimited. Next is tab. Next is general, and then finish. And it will take this unreadable document and turn it into this document right here. So that's just how you do that. Make sure that you rename it. But let me go back to this. So once you have your three reports, you can sort the age report by what will be charged long-term storage. So let me go over to that one. And you're only going to sort the quantity to be charged 6 months long-term storage, because if it's going to be 12 months, it's going to be 12 months either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort and filter. I'm going to do it smallest to largest. And anything that has a 0 is not going to be charged long-term storage. So I can automatically delete all of those values because I don't have to worry about those. Okay, so now I know what I need to work with as soon as this deletes. It deleted everything. So hold on a second, guys. Okay. All right, so I'm left with the items that I need to assess for long-term storage. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start combining some of these items. Are there any questions so far? I know that this is like a heavy session. It's very heavy, I know. Ike did a video series on this, so if it is getting like crazy, just let me know, and you can watch the video series if you want me to do it and show you on a call or one of the webinars. I can absolutely do that. Is the fee preview. Yep. So we're going to prepare the document to add things to it. So on the inventory health document, I want to add some columns. If you go by the bullets, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm on bullet number 4, like the dark black circle bullets. So I'm going to go to the inventory health and add 3 columns, and I'm going to add them in column E, F, and G. And the reason that I name these columns is because I am going to do this whole process for you. So if you name your columns what I named my columns, and you make sure that you put the columns where they need to be, then all of the formulas that I give you in this sheet will work out perfectly. So column E is going to be set fees. Column F is going to be alerts. And column G is going to be recommendations. So after I have that, I'm going to go to the fee preview report, and I'm going to set a column, and I'm going to put in some information to get the set fees. So I'm going to put that in column D. So I'm going to make a new column here. And this is going to be your set fees. Now to get your set fees, you're going to take your total fees and you're going to subtract that by the referral fees. So it's going to be column T and then column U. So what you can do is go into this blank one, hit the equal sign, then all you do is just click the cell, so T, then the minus sign, U, and then hit enter. And then what you can do is just drag this down to get that formula for the whole column. Is everybody with me so far? I know it's a lot of information and not the most user-friendly information here. Okay, so after I have that information in here, okay, so once we have the set fees in here, we're going to do a VLOOKUP. So who can do a VLOOKUP in here? No one? No one can do a VLOOKUP? Okay, so I'm going to try and show you guys how to do a VLOOKUP. I fought with it this morning, so we'll see if it wants to behave today. So what you do is you type in equals and then VLOOKUP, if I can spell VLOOKUP. Then you're going to do parentheses, and it's going to ask you for the value. So hold on, before I do this, I need to fix this skew because it's going to act funny. So hold on a second. Okay, so you write in VLOOKUP, then you do parentheses, and then it's going to ask you for the lookup value. So right now we are trying to get the set fees from this other report in here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to click column B. So we're going to look for column B. Then you're going to select your selected value from the other document. So I'm going to see if this is going to work, because if it doesn't work, then I'm going to show you the long way to do it, which is a pain in the behind. So what you do is you go to the other document that you have open and you select the range that you want to put in here, and it should fill in here, and it's not. So I'm going to show you guys another way to do this. So what you can do, and hold on a second, I just have to grab it from the email. So what you can do is you can put in the information for the document that you're looking for. So if it doesn't show up when you highlight it, you do bracket, then the name of the file that you're looking for, and I'm looking for the fee preview file. So I put in fee preview dot XLSX because that's what it's saved as. Then I close that bracket. Then what it's going to do is it's going to ask me for the sheet that the information is on in the document. So it's down here. It's this information, so I just need to put in fee preview. After the bracket, yes. Then after that, I need to put some and after I do that, I'm going to do an exclamation mark, and then I'm going to do a number sign in the column that I want it to go to. So I'm looking at column A, colon, number sign, D, and that should look up the information for that file. And then I'm going to put in a comma, a 4, because I'm looking at those 4 columns to get the information, and then false. So who here understood what I just did? Nobody, correct? Yep, absolutely. So I think that one of these days I'll do a session on VLOOKUPs, okay? So what it does, what a VLOOKUP does is it takes information. So what I'm trying to do is get the set fees for all of these ASINs from this fee preview report, right? Yes, for the long-term storage. Does that make sense so far? So I can't just take this column and copy it and put it into this document because the information won't match. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I take this, because these are two separate reports, so the information is not in the same order. So if I look at this first item here, it doesn't, if I look at this first item here, it doesn't match this item here. So if I copy these set fees and just paste it in here, the information will be all wrong and the assessment will be all wrong. But if I do a VLOOKUP, what it will do is it will automatically search for the ASIN and what fee is associated with that, and it will put it in the appropriate columns so that I can then assess the information. Does that make sense? Okay. So what you do is you do a VLOOKUP for the set fees, for the alerts, and then for the recommendation, and then you can assess this information. Okay. Does that make any sense to you guys? Okay. So what I'm going to do, because we're running out of time, is definitely go through this document, this sheet here, and it's going to take you about an hour to do this. It's going to take you an hour to put in these formulas, to sort the information, and to assess the information, and then you're going to start going through it. So after you have added your set fees and your alerts and your recommendations, then you can narrow down the information that you're looking at. Then you can look at the quantity that sold in the last 6 months to determine if it's going to make sense for you to recall the items, do promotions or sales, or do something else to get rid of your long-term storage. So this is a long process. Like I said, it's going to take you an hour. If you're not as tech savvy, it might take you 2 hours to do. But once you have the final document, you can easily assess the information and then narrow down what you're going to do for long-term storage. I mean, you can reuse it for, like, when Ike did our long-term storage, he did it for like the month, and then he would work on assessing it until the information was there. So if you do this once, then you should be good for like about a month, let's say. Yes, because you're going to have a new file. So you'd have to redo the VLOOKUP. I thought about that. I was going to give you guys a template where you just took it and did it, but because of the VLOOKUP, it makes it a little bit difficult to just have one template that you work off of. Yes. So that means that it's one of the recommendations for an ASIN, right? So you just have to go in there and play around with some of the settings to fix it. So it could be any number of things, actually. Let me see it. I'll come get it. You're welcome. All right, so are there any questions? I know that there's a lot of questions, but are there any questions that we can get to in this time period or amount of time? So what I want you to do to work on your long-term storage is go through this document that I gave you guys step by step by step by step. And if you follow this document step by step by step by step, it will lead you in the right direction, okay? If you want me to do a session on the VLOOKUP, fill that out on the survey, because I know that a lot of people don't understand VLOOKUPs. They are the devil. So especially if you're going to two different documents, if it's in the same document, it's not that difficult, but if it's two separate documents, it's a little bit of a pain in the behind. Yeah, the inventory age. So the inventory age is where you get the alerts and the recommendations. So after I'm done with the preview report, I would then go to the inventory age and do a VLOOKUP for the alerts and then a VLOOKUP for the recommendations. So that's why I have that one, because it's going to tell you low traffic. So you see all of the alerts over here. So after I've assessed the information, and depending on what the numbers are, and if I want to try to get those products to move before I recall them or destroy them, then I know, okay, it has low traffic. Maybe if I run some ads, this product will sell before long-term storage. Does that make sense? Yes. So it's going to be Amazon's recommendation. You don't have to necessarily follow it, but it says low traffic, improve recommendations, low traffic, advertise listings, low conversion, create a removal order. But that may not be what I want to do. If it has low conversions, I might try to lower the price or run an ad and see if that will get it to convert. So these are just some basic guidelines. It's not necessarily you have to do exactly what it's saying to do. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So after you put this information on here, so after you put the set fees and the fee preview numbers and the inventory age information, then we can get rid of these two reports and solely look at the information that we have on the inventory health. So we're only looking at one Excel document. So it's taking all of the information from other important areas and trying to put it in one place so that you get one massive picture of what you need to do. Okay. Any other questions? Like seriously, go through this document that I made you guys. I spent 2 hours making it. So it should be step by step good for you guys to go through and assess your long-term storage. I recommend starting to do this now or towards the end of August so that you have enough time to fight with the VLOOKUP and then also lower your prices or run your ads before August 15th gets here. I would definitely start doing it now because August 15th is around the corner. We're in July. So you want to give yourself a month for the changes that you've made to kind of take effect. I don't know. Yeah, it does that for me. Yeah. Yes, because after you put all this information here, you're going to do a couple of other things. So you're going to add some more columns, and you're going to put in some more information. So you're going to do an if or formula. So it'll tell you if this value is this, then you're going to do this. So you'll be able to see if I were to leave these items at Amazon and they sold for this price and I paid these fees, what would that number be? So I can see, will it be cheaper to recall the item, or will it make more sense for me to do ads and promotions to try to get it to move? Does that make sense? So it's going to give you a little bit further information. So like while you're sitting there looking at it and you're like, oh, I don't know what I should do, when you put in these other columns and these other formulas, it breaks it down for you on a number level. So if this number is 0, then you're good. So if you go to the very last page of the document that I made for you, that little like last clear bubble, you're going to insert a new column to calculate the projected revenue, okay? And then once you have that, if the number is larger than the total fees, you will make more profits by leaving them at Amazon than not getting any money at all. So that's what that number is going to do once you put in that formula. And then there's another one, if per unit is less than 50 cents, that's another reason to keep it at Amazon. Because if you're going to be charged per unit less than 50 cents, that's the cost of the removal fee. So you know that if it's lower than that, then just leave it at Amazon. So all of this information that you're going to put on this one file is going to give you as much information that you need to make that decision, as opposed to just looking at it and trying to figure it out on your own. It's going to give you the numbers exactly so you can figure that out. Does that make sense? Because if I have something on Amazon and I'm going to be charged less than it costs to remove it, I know that I can just remove that from long-term storage altogether and not worry about it, and I can focus on the things that are going to be more than what I want to pay for it. Does that make sense? Okay. So work on this, go through this document. If you have any issues, let me know. We can schedule a call and I'll go through it and show you how to do it one by one. Make sense? Okay. All right, if there are any questions, definitely email those to support and I will assist you.